Oh, maybe I'll put the poster up.
Oh, yeah, that'll work. Oh, put up that right there.
This right here, yeah. That'll be sick. How do we do that? All right, we're back. We are back. We're gonna a little behind the scenes here. We're just gonna take a couple minutes to reset all the things and get rolling. It's not true.
Red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather.
Okay, well that's a little too.
Lion face, lemon face. Lion face, lemon face.
That's way more behind the scenes than people needed. Don't you think? Don't you think, buddy?
Oh, don't you know?
All right. Let's grab this bad boy here. How epic will this be for a bit, huh? Boom!
Boom shakalaka.
Look at that bad boy right there. Right? I'm feeling it. I am.
Dude, my yawns are coming on.
Except now I ruined it. Hold on a second. Let me put this somewhere else. Well, you can see our show notes. That's me. That's the things we're going to say.
That's you being weird.
Well, that's the things we're going to say. I'm going to run out and do the chickens real quick. Are you going to entertain the people?
I always entertain the people. I give the people what they want.
Really?
It's been a while.
Yeah, that's...
Devil went down to Georgia. He was looking for a soul to steal.
No, but you can't sing the whole time because if I come back and there are 0 people in the chat room, including us, then we're going to have a serious problem.
That's a very good point.
But I will be back momentarily.
You know what you should do is pull up the Kingsman's fight scene from the first movie. I'm just saying.
I just closed it. I closed everything. We'll be back in a sec.
Alrighty then.
All right. What are you doing? Good God, man. What happened?
I pulled it up on my phone and I'm playing it for the people.
Kidley's nonplussed. He looks, he's got the
And that's a Cyberman.
Cyberman? I'm going to say Cyberman. Did I interrupt?
I think you should just bite me.
Anyway, we're back. I'm back.
If you would like to see that in full, you can just Google Kingsman church scene.
But Kingsman looks sick, dude. I'm pretty amped about seeing it. I have it.
No, the first one was done by Matthew Vaughn, who did Days of Future Past and X-Men First Class.
All right. Well, what about the second one?
How about you go F yourself?
Interesting.
All right. Ready to start our show?
Yep. As soon as I find what I need.
You and your darn, bumpers.
It's an integral part of the show.
Well, it's the bumper part of the show.
In a second. Moving a couple things. All right. What did I do with them? Did anybody come back with us? Oh, some people came
Yeah, we
back.
got some people.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Mad vocals? Nobody's jealous of my vocals.
Nobody.
Here we go.
Blast you for the Death Star. That thing's operational.
But Ben, now might be a really good time for you to get angry.
That's my secret, Cat. I'm always angry.
Hello and welcome to episode 95 of the Usual Podcast. The podcast where we discuss Star Wars: The Old Republic, the Star Wars franchise, and geek and pop culture. I'm your host, Marshall, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Will. What's going on, buddy?
Nothing. I'm having a pretty darn good day.
Yeah, it's a good day, man. We watched hella trailers. We just had trailer time, which is always good. And now we're sitting here enjoying our usual frosty beverages. What you got?
Well, with dinner, I had 2 Blue Moons. I went ham tonight.
Well, it was really funny because we got there 2 minutes before
2
happy hour
minutes
was
before
over.
happy hour ended.
So we each ordered 2 beers.
Yeah, we did. But right now, I am imbibing an IBC root beer.
Yeah, totally. Like I said, at dinner I was drinking Slammin' Salmon Double IPA.
You were slamming that salmon.
I was, and that's from Eel River Brewing Company.
Yes, you were.
But now I'm drinking Ninkasi Brewing Company's Tricerahops, an old standard of mine.
Yeah, it's one of your favorites.
Yeah, it's good. But yeah, man, we're good. I'm having a good day.
Yeah, it's a good day. And we just had a really good trailer time, watched some really good trailers, some depressing war movies that still look excellent.
Some depressing war movies. Yeah, they were depressing. But they look good.
And how would people go about seeing them if they haven't seen it?
Yeah, so trailer time is what we start our show with. If you're in the live stream right now, some of you are here for that. But if not, if you want to become a patron of our show, giving us a couple bucks an episode, $1 or $2 an episode, there's a couple bonuses.
1 or 200.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can give as much as you want. And thank you to everybody who does that. We have several patrons who've been giving to the show for a long time. But the best part is we have bonuses for them. I do a blooper reel with every episode. So if you don't watch us live and you want to hear the madness I cut out of the show,
it's all me swearing.
It's all Will making me do work. And then we also do trailer time, which is actually a video of us watching trailers and commenting on them and that kind of thing. So We're working on more bonuses and stuff like that. And we're going to do another patron roundtable at some point during the summer. So
awesome. And don't forget to plan ahead. And actually, I will skip that because we're going to be getting to it in just 2 minutes.
I got it slated. I'm good.
Jeez, Marshall.
So before we get started, if you have comments or questions, you can find us at theusualpodcast.com. Email us at theusualpodcast@gmail.com. And we're on Facebook, Google+, Pinterest, Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube. I am at Darth Pops on Twitter. Will can be found at IMO Griggs. We're on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and Google Play, and wherever else you download podcasts. So if you are on those apps, give us a positive rating. We would like more, as most shows would. And tell your friends, because we like listeners.
We like stars.
Stars, listeners are good.
We like stars upon stars.
We have 3 sections to the show, but we do put the timestamps in the show notes. So if you're new and you don't play Star Wars: The Old Republic and you want to skip that section, feel free. But the timestamps in the show notes to the Star Wars section and our pop culture section as well. And thanks to everybody who is watching us live. We'll do our best to check out the chat room and keep up with y'all. But we appreciate you being there. So thank you.
Okay, did you just drop a y'all?
And look, it's been a thing today. For some reason, I've been doing that. And
Y'all.
Nobody's called me on it, but, here we are.
All right. Y'all.
Oh, look, man. Sometimes you got to drop a y'all.
All right, well, let's see how many y'alls I can drop without being obnoxious about it.
No. Because then we want more listeners. Remember? I was going back to that thing I was just saying. More listeners are better. Less listeners are bad. Y'all's in excess will... Anyway, it doesn't matter.
We'll see how it goes.
Whatever. All right, man. So let's get to our Star Wars: The Old Republic section. We have some fun stuff this week. I'm excited.
Yeah, really fun stuff. Dynamite dropping,
Yeah,
Will.
I thought you were going to say something else. And here we are with the bumper.
You want to fight? I'm ready.
You do not have to stand against me. Instead, I will share all of this with you if you will only kneel.
First thing out of the gate,
I almost missed that one.
you almost missed that one. And I should have said this before because people are going to start skipping around probably, but that's okay. I am starting to make our arrangements for our meetup.
Yes, we are.
And this is in July.
The week of July 19th through the 23rd.
And that is during San Diego Comic-Con, and more details to come for sure. And I've been alluding to it a little bit towards the end of the show the last few weeks because that's usually when we talk about conventions.
Yes.
But I like to cover this in the beginning because a lot of the people that show up to the cantinas are SWTOR players.
Yes, they are.
And they're used to it because some people used to actually go to San Diego and do cantinas like BioWare, Austin. It's fine if you don't, I guess. But
Well, we know that Eric's not listening, but on the off chance that he is,
Eric, here's the thing, bro. Show up to the
come to our cantina.
Come back to San Diego. But it's okay if they don't. But I'm putting it together. We're going to do the same spot as we did last year at Mission Brewing Company.
Yep.
I've already been talking with the event coordinator there, and I'm excited. We're slated for either Friday or Saturday, depending on when they can fit us in, and it's gonna be around 5 o'clock.
Yeah,
so
it'll be late afternoon, early evening.
And I wouldn't even mind doing a little earlier than that, at least getting people together.
I think 3 o'clock would be a good time.
3 o'clock.
Well, just if you do 3 o'clock, then you can wrap up. People can start getting food at the bar if they want to, whatever.
My worry with 3 o'clock though is if it's Friday, people will be traveling still.
That's a good point. People coming from LA and whatnot.
Yeah, so around 5 right now, as of right now, tentatively. But the idea is that we'll probably start recording about an hour after that.
And we'll be starting drinking about 10.
I'll be drinking AM. It's Comic-Con, bro. But anyway,
we'll be unleashing the Kraken.
Yeah, the point is, if you are in San Diego or live in the area and want to come hang out with us, the idea, the 21st or 22nd, around 5 o'clock, Mission Brewing Company, we'll be upstairs.
Yep.
And you'll see us because we'll be sitting around looking silly with mics.
Yeah, we will. And make sure you come out and join us for Pucked, the Pucked Cantina.
Yeah. So at SWTOR Steve on Twitter, he said this last year while we were recording because I was trying to do it in one shot, and I got it.
You did.
I got it in the recording, and I didn't edit that. That was for real. But we called it the Passionately Usual Carillion Trap Cantina.
Yes, we did.
I nailed it. And he's like, Pucked. I was like,
yep.
That's it.
So that's what
it's
it's called.
From now on, we're going to call it Pucked, the Pucked Cantina. But please come join us. It'd be great to have any and all of you that want to come hang out. So welcome to the chat room to new folks. It's never too early. Yeah, Zen, indeed. It is never too early to start drinking. Quote of the day.
Well,
I'm looking at the chat.
The way I look at it is the earlier you get, it's just later from the night before.
Well, another way to look at it.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway,
anywho,
let's get to some SWTOR stuff. So another community thing that I thought was kind of cool, I saw on Twitter. I'm not familiar with the Webby Awards. Are you?
Oh no, Webbies are huge.
Okay, can you tell us a little bit?
Well, they're basically like the Oscars for web content.
Indeed.
So Nerdist wins a ton. Usually, Smogcast wins some.
Sure.
But
there's a lot of those kind of deals. I don't know which ones are better than others.
Yeah, well, the Webby is like the big one. It's
okay.
Basically like I said, the Oscar for web-based content. So it covers, podcasts, vlogs, video shows, all that fun stuff.
Indeed. Cool, man. So speaking of the, I want to say Betrayed trailer. that came out for Kotet
Yes.
won a Webby, People's Voice Webby.
And who made that trailer?
Well, Blur, because they're amazing.
And who heads up Blur?
The guy that Kevin Smith always refers to as that young guy that did that really cool thing.
Even though he's in his
Deadpool
40s
movie.
and blonde
Yeah,
and bald.
it always makes me laugh.
Tim Miller.
Tim Miller. Yep, there it is.
And he went on to do Deadpool,
Indeed.
a little tiny movie.
Just a small movie called Deadpool that is near and dear to all our hearts.
Yes. Dynamite dropping. I'm
What, you-
dynamite with the drop-ins
Now
tonight.
you're kind of blowing it, but I'm trying to gloss over. I'm joking. You're stupid. All right, so another big announcement for us.
I know, right?
Finally, after a couple months of waiting, I
mean,
finally
a couple months of Musco losing our email.
Yeah, well, look, I finally, with the help of some of our fellow influencers,
Yes.
like Jesse Stardust,
Who
of
put
course.
a boot in Musco's butt?
He's like, she's like, "Are you gonna respond to them ever?" And he's like, "Oh, yeah, tell him to email me again." So I emailed again, and
And
so
look, we're influencers.
yeah, so we're good. We're officially influencers. So thanks to Kid Lee, Sakari, Jesse, and all of you guys, all the other influencers out there, Bad Feeling and stuff, who been supporting us and letting us talk to you guys, even though we haven't been official. But I'm excited to see what we can do, SWOTOR content wise. Well, I should say it this way: solo SWOTOR content wise.
Yes.
The caveat with our show, because we're not solely SWOTOR, is we can't be promoted by SWOTOR,
BioWare, yeah.
by BioWare Austin, unless we are doing only SWOTOR stuff. So
Right.
if you
We're going
guys
to be doing a little mini episode.
yeah, so we might be doing some stuff in the future, probably after episode 100, just to, just solely SWOTOR stuff. So if you have any ideas, if you have any ideas for us, that would be great. I mean, we could do little discussion topics and stuff like that. We can talk about WOG. We can talk about a lot of stuff, but I'm really trying to kind of think outside the box a little bit and try to
Exactly.
get at least like a 20 to 30 minute stream or podcast that is only SWOTOR, where we can boost our numbers a bit, because SWOTOR actually says, hey, yeah, we'll support you on that one. So any ideas would be great. So thanks, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. We could do sponsor a Section X speed run or
And guild stuff is totally fine too. I mean, I finally, hopefully you guys are noticing the video quality a little bit better this week. I've finally upped my internet speed a little bit. So
It is
I'm hoping
nice.
to start streaming WOG on Friday nights consistently. So that's the kind of stuff that we can do. But if you have any other ideas, the community has any other ideas, email us, text me, tweet me, whatever works.
And actually, I just realized we did not have a single buffering during our trailers.
I know.
How awesome is that?
I know. Look, I'm not going to, knock on wood, but honestly, man, I mean, Comcast came through.
Came through. Wow. It's the first time I think we've ever heard Comcast came through.
Oh my God, it's the first positive thing I've said about Comcast in how long? Now I'm talking smack, knocking on wood. Sorry, Comcast. You're good.
And actually, this isn't, I've got another quick thing. This isn't directly SWOTOR, but we are also looking at trying to mix up our content a little bit by bringing in some interviewees. I know we're planning on bringing in Skeen sometime soon.
Oh yeah, John Skeen will be in pretty quick, and we'll get some of our other patrons in here. I'm thinking before, at least once before Comic-Con. So I'd like to do that.
Yeah, and one interview I'm working on right now is I have a friend who works in the art department at Funko.
Yeah.
And so she's going to be coming on sometime before the summer to talk about some stuff coming in the fall.
Nifty. So we're trying to do some stuff, guys. So any suggestions, please send them our way. And thank you to all of you guys who are patrons and support the show and tweet our stuff and like us, because by the gods, this does take a little time to do every week.
It does. And, well, it's mostly on Marshall's time, but
Well, yes, that's why I was saying.
that's why you get producer credit.
Gotta have a title, right? All right, man. So what did you do in game this week, SWOTOR wise? Is there a mayfly in here? Is that what you're dodging?
It's a mosquito eater.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyways, as you know from last week, I actually downloaded the patch, and I'm actually playing. I'm playing at work on my work computer, but it's actually after hours, so I'm okay. But you also know me as I don't necessarily I'm not one of those people that jumps on the content the day it gets released.
Right.
So I haven't done anything with Tithe or IOCath or any of that yet. But I did take my bounty hunter, who was my first
I can't believe.
my first alt, and he wrapped up his basic gear quest.
Oh my god.
Yes.
Try not to judge him too harshly, SWTOR community.
That basic gear quest. So yeah, he finally wrapped up the Aurora cannon.
Wow.
And finished up the Section X section.
One quest away from that stellar achievement.
Yeah, it's been 4 years in the making.
Okay, can I say what I did this week? Because that was not as
Oh,
epic.
well,
as...
actually, now that that's done, I'm going to be pulling up my Jedi Counselor, and he's going to be going through the Illa missions.
Let's save our judgments for later, everyone.
Yeah, wait until you can meet me up at the Pucked Cantina.
Yeah, when
and
you
make
see him
fun
at
of me
Puck,
live.
just kick him in the shins or something. All right, man. So I actually had a decent week in SWTOR. The main thing was WOG last week.
Right.
And because of the delay of the patch, we got to do Tithe. I got to do
you
Tithe
guys
for
did
the
Tithe.
first time.
Yeah, because if the patch had dropped the week before, you wouldn't have been
I
able
wouldn't
to
have
do
been
it.
able to do it. So we got to do it, and let's see, we wiped. It took us a couple of attempts. We got him on the third attempt, I believe. I was tanking. At first, I was off tanking, and I'm not the best off tank, especially on a
No,
fight.
you're not.
Okay.
You lead people to lava.
Especially if there's a lot of ads, and a fight I don't know.
Right.
And this fight has a silly amount of ads, and so in my head,
So did mechanics get pretty tricky, or?
well, what was happening was I was trying to get them all in a place, but there's too
So
many
you
of
could
them,
AoE, yeah.
and so I couldn't really keep track of them. So what we did was I switched to main tank, and Zella switched to off tank, and we did have one more wipe, but we got it on the third shot. We got it, and it was a lot of fun. I actually really enjoyed the fight. The mechanics are way different than some of the stuff that we're used to. It's more of like a management thing
Okay.
than stay out of the thing.
Yeah, well,
stuff.
I would think with as a
If that makes
tank,
sense.
especially as an off tank, with so many ads, it would
Yeah.
be hard to maintain threat on all of them.
Well, and it is, and the goal of the off tank would be to keep the ads off the healers and stuff like
Right.
that, rather than trying to keep them off of everybody, because there was so many at some point, it was really difficult to keep them.
Well, I mean, the
off
perk with
of
having
everybody.
so many is it's hard to screw up an AoE attack.
It's true. But it was a lot of fun. It was a cool fight, and I'm really looking forward to the next fight, which we'll talk about here in just a second.
Very cool.
Let's get to some news, bro.
Yeah, what kind of stuff did we have coming out of the dev tracker this week?
Well, there's dev tracker stuff as always. And if you listen to last week's show, boy, did I do an editing masterwork on that.
Oh, did you now?
No, well, not masterwork. If you go to the original feed, to when we recorded it, there was a lot of back and forth between us in the chat room about who Keith replaced.
I remember that.
And I edited out a good chunk
Did
of
we
us.
finally realize it wasn't Tate?
There was a big argument, and everybody else was trying to make me feel like I didn't know what I was talking about. And so when it
And
came
Mox
down,
was definitely taking.
well, everybody was doubling down. I was like, fine, I guess I don't know what I'm talking about, but I did, and I was right ultimately. So I edited a lot of that stuff out. But and again, if you become a patron, you can see the blooper reel. It's pretty funny. I saved all those chunks. It was pretty entertaining. But what it comes down to is Keith has been really communicating with the community, and one of the requests to the community team or to the devs was, can you give us something else to spend our command tokens on? Because you
Okay.
get all those command tokens if you're leveling up ranks, and really, can you give us something other than gear to use it on? And Keith comes back. He says, look, I agree. It's definitely something we want to improve. So I'll let you know when we can roll out changes. The original post said something along the lines of, I would like to be able to use it, even if it's on decorations or cosmetic or pets or something like that, because you get to the point to where you have the gear you have, but then you just keep getting tokens.
Exactly.
Right. So what are you going to do with those extra
Right.
tokens? It'd be kind of cool to be able to put it towards something else.
Well, I'm thinking.
So-
I'm guessing what their thoughts were. You would just disintegrate them.
Right. But why would you disintegrate perfectly good tokens if there was something to use them on.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Oops. Let me open this next one. This one was actually kind of funny. So there's a couple of major issues with rewards on IOCath. I've been listening to a lot of other shows, and some other people are saying like, oh, when you finish the IOCath storyline, you get like 50 CXP. Like the rewards are kind of funky.
I think I got more from finishing the basic gear quest.
Indeed. So what it comes down to is Keith also comes out and says, just following up on the issue about daily rewards while on IOCath, in the next patch, likely on May 2nd, they're going to add a CXP pack and a credit explosion pack to the dailies where you control a mouse droid, a monitor droid, or a walker. This is just a temporary solution, and I'll follow up later date if we decide to do something different. What that's a response to is, from what I understand, and I haven't dived into the dailies quite enough yet. I've only done a couple of them, but there's some dailies where people are saying you have to pay credits in order to do them, and it's the walker ones and the droid ones. You have to pay credits. So I think they're trying to compensate for that, but I don't know if they have a real solution to it quite yet. So
yeah, it's definitely something they should look into.
Yeah, that's bad. And the CXP pack, a follow-up question to that is, what rank CXP pack were they thinking of adding to the rewards? And Keith said it should be 125 CXP and 250 with the 100% boost. So if you got a boost going, you'll get that much. So that's good. There was a weird, shocking on the Harbinger. There were some issues. There was a queue again. You know how randomly that happens?
It does, yeah.
Yeah. So the name of the post was 336 in a queue to get into the game, and of course that was the Harbinger. And
it's almost like a bouncer standing in front of a club saying, "Sorry, we've got too many dudes."
It's like, oh look, do you have any chicks with you? That kind of thing. So,
well, I've got Mako.
Yeah, but joking. Mako fans, I'm sorry.
I want to mess with Makos.
No, it's a
Thanks,
isn't it a pile of Makos?
I don't remember.
I don't remember even. Moving on. Anyone else having connectivity problems? So there was some connectivity problems as well as what was the other thing that was going on? There was the back-end maintenance, and that took longer, and they had to do a server restart. So there's been a couple things going on. But the main thing that I wanted to highlight before we get to my discussion topic is there is okay. Remember I said last week there was an issue with the faction switching?
Right.
Okay. So what's going on here is Eric is addressing, it's not a workaround, but it's like, what's going on with the faction switching? So be aware of this. Obviously, by the time you listen to this, I don't know if they're going to have it fixed, but hopefully you've figured out the workaround. Yeah. So it says, Eric says, I have some information about not only the issue, but also when we're planning to get it fixed. So let's talk about the current functionality. If you have an IOCath daily or weekly mission in your log, you'll be unable to change factions. So like on my main right now, I have a bunch of, I align myself with the Empire, obviously, and I have all the Empire dailies in my quest log. So if I have those in my quest log, I can't switch the Republic, even if it's the next day.
Which makes complete sense.
It does make sense. But if you have completed a daily mission on IOCath, you'll be unable to change factions for the remainder of that day, which they said in the beginning. But
so the frustrating thing about that is, say you pick up dailies, but you don't finish them in that day. Mm-hmm. You've picked up Imperial, but then say you finish one of those Imperial dailies after the 24-hour switch, that day you still can't switch because you finished one that day.
I think I follow. Yes, I think you're right. So the bug, if you complete a weekly mission on IOCath, you'll be unable to change factions for the remainder of that week.
Oh, wow.
And that's the bigger issue, right?
Yeah.
So it's not a day-to-day thing. That's like you finish the weekly and you're locked out for the week. And so the last bullet is a bug that's not intended. They're in the process of getting this issue fixed for 5.2.1, which is coming next Tuesday on the 2nd. So which is actually the day this will drop. So by the time you listen to this, hopefully this is solved and it doesn't get delayed or something.
Yeah, because that would be a total mess, because you would think, oh, well, I just won't turn in the weekly. But the thing is I think the weekly's probably automatically done once you finish all the dailies.
Yeah, I think it'll still have the pending thing up there,
right.
but you're right. I think that's a problem for sure. So roadmap. Remember we mentioned a roadmap last week?
Yes.
Do you remember that? Keith was saying he's going to do a roadmap?
Yes.
And we were talking about roadmaps? I was thinking I should say roadmap again.
Roadhouse.
Just kidding. That's not different. That's a different word. So, so he basically says, I'm going to include class balance in the roadmap or sooner if I have it available. So this is a weirdly worded thing. He says, hey there, never is way too long of a time. So how about I include an update about class balance in the roadmap or sooner if I have it available? We're still working on the details, and I'll go through the normal internal review cycles. Once they've come to agreement, he'll post it. Now, that said, a couple days later, somebody was asking, hey, what's with the roadmap? And he says, I've seen people are asking him to respond to some of the tough questions that they're hoping to address in the roadmap.
Right.
So they feel ignored, of course, and he comes back and says, I've seen many of them. I realize the clock's ticking on information if it comes fast enough. He's already starting to feel the pressure, I think. But in the meantime, I'm ensuring the roadmap is solid and expect it will address many questions, but not everything. Yet hopefully we can have additional dialogue about to provide clarity for areas of concern. So it's coming soon, TM, right? I'm guessing it's gonna in the next week or so.
Right.
I'm hoping.
You know this, and this is kind of connected, but you know if they ever do a continue, and my question's going to be about?
What's that?
It's not what you think it's going to be about. What do you think what do you think it would be about?
The cantina?
Yeah.
What about the cantina?
No. My question, you would probably think it'd be about stackable storage. It's not. You know what my question about it is?
What?
When are they going to finally finish the timeline video stories that were on the website 5 years ago?
God. You and the other 5 people that are still playing the game that want that
I
are
want
probably
them.
still asking that question.
I want them.
Oh, good God. I don't have my backup going either, I just realized, but hopefully that's fine. Okay, so real quick, last thing before I get to my makeshift discussion topic. So what's the main thing here? He says, according to the patch notes, there was an issue with an error in the patch notes. So he said, I'm not going to talk about a lot of patch notes, but there's an error in a patch note. Okay. After talking with the team, there is an error in the patch notes. It's intended that non-final bosses are dropping prototype and artifact gear.
Okay.
Not assembled, which is my error. So he had said it was going to be unassembled pieces, but really they're dropping prototype and artifact gear. However, given the feedback of the thread and the one you linked, the team is looking to improve this experience. So it's not that they're not listening. It's just they can only move so fast.
Exactly.
So let's have some patience, could we?
Plus, everyone has to remember, I mean, like, we're gamers and we do consider ourselves geeks and stuff, but
Wait.
I'm sure...
You're a gamer?
Well...
I'm joking. Continue.
But I'm sure there's a very small percentage of us that are actually coders. And coding is not like flipping a switch.
Ugh. Well, we did have an episode called Flipping Switches because I assumed it's essentially flipping switches.
No,
it's not. Does anybody in the chat room want to see? I'm sure you've already seen it. Our discussion topic is this amazing picture of the next boss after Tithe,
right?
Which is twin sisters. It looks like twin robot sisters or whatever. So the first look, then this was a tweet by at Sotor, of course, and it says, meet, I'm going to say Esne.
Okay.
A cunning battlefield warrior fueled by envy and hatred.
Ooh.
So if you've done and I don't want to spoil much, if you've done Tithe, the pantheon, the gods and the pantheon that we're going to be fighting are based on these specific emotions.
Oh, okay.
Tithe is the god of war or hatred or something like that. I don't know. I'm sure somebody will correct me.
I wonder if they're going to
not hatred. It's war.
I wonder
right?
if they're going to
anger. I don't remember. Continue.
I wonder if they're going to have 3 in a row. That's anger leads to hate, leads to suffering.
Well, I hope so. Can we have a god of suffering? He's just like all emo.
And please tell me he's got the hair coming down.
Yeah. If you've seen the latest Flash episode, you get to see some emo Flash, which is great.
Oh, awesome.
So I didn't put it up for the chat room. Sorry, I don't have that window open, but I'll put a link in the show notes. Definitely check it out. It looks pretty. The feedback, surprisingly, on this particular tweet, which is long and
luxurious.
A lot of feedback. Positive, mostly positive.
Wow.
Which, right? I was surprised as well.
Definitely not part of the SWTOR forum.
Yeah, I was reading through them all. I was like, oh, people like this. This is cool. That's nice. All right, man. So let's real quick, there is an issue though with some of the daily rewards. And I haven't gone through the dailies yet, so I think I'm going to put this off to next week. But I want kind of people to kind of throw out there rage. Thank you, Arjar. Yes, God of Rage. Did I say anger?
Yes.
That's what I did. Well, something leads to something
Different.
that leads to
It's different.
rage is different than anger.
Yes.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, so
Like, I'm angry at you right now, but I'm not feeling rage.
you would not want to see me feeling rage.
You
This
still,
mixer would probably be out the window
you
right
still
now.
can jump up and reach me.
You're trying to say I don't have hops?
I'm saying you're short.
God, okay. Thanks, Arjar, for spearing this fight between us. But
says
you're
you're-
right. Thank you, God of Rage. Thank
and
you.
of course, I think you've got Triceratops.
Nope. Terrible. All right, so daily rewards. There's some. Okay, so here's my issue. I'm having a hard time with the dailies on IOCath.
And why is that?
I don't like them.
Ooh.
And I don't like them because I'm not used to them yet. I'm going to give them another shot. I'm not giving up on them. But in my head, I have like 5 or 6 heroics that I can do in a very short amount of time that get me
They give you
hella CXP.
Good ROI, right?
Right?
Okay, gotcha.
There's a couple of them I can do in like 30 seconds, right? But I'm having a hard time navigating IOCath. I'm having a hard time figuring out, and I like to figure things out. I'm gonna do all the dailies. I'm not gonna give up on them. But from what I understand, and I'm projecting a little bit here because I've just been hearing things and I don't know, but people are saying the rewards aren't really worth it. So
Really?
I think that's something they're gonna be tweaking. But next week I want to come back and it'd be kind of cool if maybe you could check them out. But really, what I want to do is figure out. I want to do like almost an I wish segment
Okay.
for dailies, because there are some dailies that I used to do all the time, and I still don't really do them. I have put a few more into my rotation because of conquest and stuff,
Right.
but ultimately, heroics are quick and easy,
Right.
right? So
if-
if I'm just grinding CXP,
Yeah. Well, you know me. I grind old stuff too. So,
Yeah.
like when I'm grinding, like killing people on Section X,
Yeah.
because I'm trying to go for that. You have to kill like 5,000 of a
Yeah.
certain thing to get.
well, those are achievements. But don't
Yeah.
get me wrong. On IOCath, there's rep,
Right.
which there's reputation. There are the specific tokens. There's PvP. There's other stuff going on there, but I'm not compelled to do it quite yet.
Yeah,
so,
I got you.
So we'll figure it out. But that'll be for next week. Anything else for SWTOR, dude?
No, I do have a podcast I want to mention. So we have our optional podcast corner.
Can we not do it? I just wanted to see your face, please. Podcast corner, go for it, bro. No, he's quitting. Okay, then I'm just gonna put the bumper on for Star Wars. You have 10 seconds to decide.
I'm the one that controls the volume for the bumper to Star Wars.
Okay.
All right, no, really quick. There's as you know, I've kind of gotten into these crime and not quite horror based podcasts lately. Like I'm all caught up on lore, which I've been raving about for a little over a month.
I'll say.
I'm all caught up on serial killers, which is great. They're doing a batch on the Axemen of New Orleans, which
All
is
right.
fantastic.
All right.
But I just started this new one called Hollywood and Crime. And his first season just wrapped up, and it was 8 episodes, and it was all about the Black Dahlia, right?
Oh,
Which was
that's
the
cool.
unsolved, but it
Yeah.
wasn't really all about her. It was about evidently there was like 8 or 9 murders surrounding that time frame that all had connections, and so they're not sure if it was a serial killer, if it was a one-shot deal. So they did a lot, and it was a lot of reenactment. So it felt very much like James Ellroy, like LA Confidential type stuff.
Cool.
But now they're in like their second part of the season. What they're doing is they brought someone in who's a former behavioralist for the FBI and is a consultant on criminal minds, and he's going to be putting modern techniques to look at the psychology and stuff of those crimes to see what we can figure
Oh,
out.
that's kind of badass.
Yeah, so it's a really enjoyable podcast. I mean, Donna,
Cool.
my sister Donna, who's not actually a podcast person,
Yeah,
she's very visual.
Yeah.
I told her about this, and I've told her about the other ones that I really like, and she
Sure.
doesn't like them. I told her about this one. She listened to 4 episodes in the first day.
Oh, that's badass.
Yeah.
Cool,
and they're
man.
all about half an hour, so very
Nice.
enjoyable. Again, it's called Hollywood and Crime, and it's only been out for about 4 months.
Nice. If Mox is listening to this, I know that he's been part of his New Year's resolution is to listen to a new podcast a week, I think.
Well, there's three
So
of them right there for
there's
you.
a few for you there, buddy.
Lore,
So,
serial killers, and Hollywood and Crime.
so here we go. All right, let's get to Star Wars, dude.
I was raised to do one thing. But I've got nothing to fight for. Nothing will stand in our way. I will finish what you started.
Oh, Kylo. You're so
You're so emo.
emo Kylo. All right. Boy, do I have some cool stuff. I thought this was going to be a pretty light Star Wars weekend. It kind of is. But I have some pretty cool discussion topics
There's lots
here.
of little crumbs.
Yeah. So let's start with this top one. I don't know if you saw this. Greedo actor reveals a deleted Han Solo scene in the original Star Wars. Now,
Really?
let me read you what he said because this
Okay.
is pretty badass. So, oh God, are we gonna get ads? Sorry, if chat room, if you hear something playing in the background, please let us know. I for some reason cannot hear it when I'm on this website, so I apologize. So it says, while speaking to Sci-Fi Central Australia, Greedo actor Paul Blake revealed an intriguing new detail about his time on the set in the first Star Wars movie. He said, there's a brilliant little sequence, which I love doing with Harrison, where we were shooting at each other, Blake said. We had this big gun battle where we were shooting at each other all morning. Then stormtroopers came out in big double doors, and we started firing at them. He said, Blake said he filmed on the production for 5 weeks and was included in the original Jabba the Hutt scenes that were cut, which were restored eventually later,
Right.
and put back in the film with CGI. And the actor revealed that he also played one of the Rhodians in the background of that scene, so it's not really clear if Greedo was in the big gunfight with Solo and the stormtroopers, or if it was generic Rhodian number 2. And he said Blake gave the hope that Lucas still has the footage somewhere at Skywalker Ranch, and that he wanted it to be released soon, but knowing Lucas's staunch stubbornness and Lucasfilm President Kathleen Kenney's unwillingness to change the original films, which I have a story about that later,
Right.
it's unlikely we'll ever see the scene. But
Yeah, because we'd end up with Han Solo walking on Jabba's tail again.
right, but think of how cool that would be
That would be cool. That's it's a funny scene.
to see them firing at each other and be like, "Holy crap, stormtroopers! Fire at them!"
Exactly.
You know, I mean, I don't know. It kind of captures your imagination a little bit, which I kind of dig.
The vibe of that kind of feels like when Solo runs around the corner and then runs back,
Right.
screaming.
I love that scene. All right, so excuse me. Let's see what do we got. So this is one of those posts where it rattles off where it's like a slideshow,
Exactly.
and it's got a bunch
It
of
gives all the release dates.
release dates. And I thought we usually cover release dates in real reviews
Yeah,
later,
but these are Star Wars.
but
so.
it's Star Wars. We're specific, so we have Rebels season 4 in the fall, right? And let's see, this show typically begins airing in June,
Yes,
right?
it does.
Typically. So we've got that. We've also got Force Friday, which is Force Friday 2, which is September 1st, which
If you remember from 2 years ago, that's when they released all the Journey of the Force Awakens books.
exactly. And that's when you get new merchandise. That's when you get all the new Star Wars
Stuff specific for the next movie.
merch leading up to the film, for sure. And then we've got Battlefront 2, November 17th.
Yeah, I still, it's funny. I was cleaning out stuff on my.
That trailer didn't do it for you, huh?
No, the trailer's cool.
Yeah.
But again, you know me, I'm not much of a first-person shooter type of person, and
Right.
that's very much in that vein for me.
Indeed.
So I love the theme, and I love the story based around it. But it was funny. I was cleaning out stuff off my computer the other day, and I found my old folder for the Battlefront beta.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
And I was like, oh, time to delete that.
That's funny. We also have The Last Jedi, obviously, December 15th.
My birthday!
Which is your birthday, which we've already got big plans for. And we have the untitled Han Solo film, May 25th.
Which I'm hoping we get a title at D23.
And that is in 2018. And this is, I'm just wrapping this up with another story we're going to talk about later as far as episode 9 goes, but they have very recently announced the release date of May 24th, 2019.
Yeah, they're back to May.
They're back to May.
Which is good.
Yeah, which is what we've been talking about. So be excited. Star Wars is not going away.
No, it is not.
For Star Wars fans,
that's exciting.
It's not something some of us are used to.
I know, right?
Exciting to.
We're used to the dead time from the mid '80s to the late '90s.
I mean, there's been a lot of downtime for Star Wars fans.
Yeah, there has been.
Thankfully, that's changing, which is
it's
pretty
not like
cool.
Star Trek where you get something new every couple of years.
Right. So Kathleen Kennedy. This goes back to what we were just saying. I just put the link in here, but we've already talked about it. People were asking her if they're going to go back and alter the original Star Wars films.
Meaning back to like the original content?
Exactly. This says, speaking with Steel Wars podcast at Star Wars Celebration last week, Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy spoke about, Steel Wars got to interview Kathleen Kennedy. That's pretty badass.
I know, right?
Spoke about the company's commitment to George Lucas's final cuts. And that they would not alter the films in any way. She said, "I wouldn't touch those. Are you kidding me?" Kennedy said with a laugh, "Those will always remain his."
Yeah,
So,
I mean, first of all, it would be bad PR.
yeah.
But
Could you imagine you buy the company from the man and then you just go like, "All right, I'm going to change all your movies."
exactly. No, I mean, first of all, it's bad PR. But second of all, I don't think she actually has any rights to
Yeah, I
change
don't-
anything
I
from
don't
the
think
first
so
one.
either.
The set from 5 and 6, I think she could if she wanted to.
Right.
But A New Hope, I don't think even I don't think she would have the rights to do.
I don't. Yeah. I think
And
you're
even
right.
if she would, I don't think they have the rights to distribute it that way
Right. So
because that's still with Fox.
this is actually a cool little rumor, which I threw in here.
Okay.
I never watched Mr. Robot. Did you?
So good.
Yeah. Well.
I watched the first season and I just haven't had time to binge the second season yet.
yeah. I
But
hear it's
dude,
good.
Remy Malek is a revelation. That Christian Slater is phenomenal. The writing is spot on.
Cool. So this isn't really about Mr. Robot, but Mr. Robot, the creator, is rumored to write the next Star Wars standalone movie
For the 2020.
for that
would
next
be
slot.
All about that.
Right.
All about it.
So since you've seen the film, or since you've seen the show
Yes.
and are familiar with his work, any predictions on what that movie might be? Since we've been talking about it off and on for the last goodness knows how long.
Well, he's very tech centered.
Mm.
So I would guess it would have something to do with a slicer. And by slicer, I don't mean a lightsaber wielding person.
Oh, okay.
As-
So like
as
a
opposed-
hacker,
Yeah.
Star Wars hacker.
Exactly. So, and it could be not necessarily centered around them, but it's going to be having a lot of that. So I'm guessing you're going to get a lot of stuff on Nar Shaddaa, a lot of stuff on Coruscant, planets like that
That'd be cool.
that are much more tech centered and not like something like Tatooine or something.
And one of the other things we've talked about, which this particular article kind of suggests that is a possibility, is that maybe it's the Kenobi movie we've been talking about.
I really don't know about that. My guess would be, and actually what I would hope for,
Right.
would be this would be a film about the city underworld. So maybe bringing in the Black Sun, maybe bringing in.
Do you think that they might go back to the Boba Fett idea? Because that's another suggestion here too.
No, I mean,
I really hope they don't
I
do
hope
that.
not.
And
because
we've talked about that how many
the
times.
reason why Boba Fett is cool is because he's so limited.
Yeah, exactly.
But I would love it to bring in the criminal underworld. So really something Hut centered.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you. All right, so this story is intriguing because I love me some Rosario Dawson,
Yeah, you
some
do.
Night Nurse,
Yeah,
right?
just a couple weeks ago we watched the trailer for Unforgettable.
Yeah, exactly. So Rosario Dawson apparently is kind of actively pursuing, no, maybe not actively pursuing, but heavily suggesting to Lucasfilm that she wants to play Ahsoka. And so I'll read this to you. It says, fans of the franchise were already pining for Ahsoka to appear in live action form at some point. In February, a fan tweeted at the actress asking if she'd ever want to do it. Since then, people are like, oh, you should do it. So on Good Morning America this week, Dawson went all in on the notion that she wants to play the fan favorite Jedi. She first told the host that playing the character would be amazing, but followed up with an even bolder statement. With fingers crossed, the actress pleaded with the internet to make it happen. So how cool would it be to have Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka Tano.
Okay, I think she'd be great as Ahsoka. The problem that I have with
Here
it
you go.
is most of the time that we would be able to get Ahsoka into a storyline is when she's younger. And I hate to say it, Rosario Dawson's just too old to play young Ahsoka.
She is, yeah.
But if they were to do something like, as of right now, we still don't know her fate as of in Rebels.
True.
Okay? They really haven't touched on her at all. They didn't touch on her at all in Season 3. Because her storyline
Right.
pretty much wrapped up with the finale of Season 2. Now, if they bring in her in... maybe not necessarily on the big screen, but if they were to ever do a live-action TV show like they've been talking about, and maybe Filoni does it and its connections with how how the Ghost is brought back into Rogue One,
Yeah.
that time frame would make sense.
Well, or
Endor.
or just jump forward.
Or jump forward.
And to where the age makes sense.
Yep.
And what's Ahsoka doing when, I don't know, another thing is going on that we know about?
Honestly, if they would have done it, I think her age range would have been great for coming into Force Awakens. She would have been a little young to play that age.
Yeah.
But if they were to do a movie between Jedi and Force Awakens, that's the sweet spot.
All right. Okay. Wouldn't she be too old at that point? Force Awakens?
You mean
she was alive
Ahsoka?
in the clone. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, well, she was a kid in the Clone Wars. She would be.
Yeah, but you're talking about aging her up a little bit for.
Right.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
She would be about 50, but in real life, Rosario Dawson's late 30s.
Yeah, exactly. I see what you're saying. Okay.
That's why the sweet spot would be somewhere in between, because we still have that 30-year period between Jedi and Force Awakens to play with.
That's a good point, dude. All right, man. So what do we got here? This is Star Wars announces a new manga. A Star Wars manga is pretty cool.
Yeah, well,
right?
I mean, obviously, Star Wars really drives in the international audience.
Right. So the new manga will launch a new campaign on the app. So apparently there's an app involved with this.
Okay.
I don't know enough about this, to be honest with you. So when Star Wars and Japan clash, it's always something to get excited about, blah, blah, blah. It says what is this even talking about?
Well, you know, while you're looking at that, I'm going to throw something in here.
Oh, it's a new novel. That's what it is.
That there is a big deal going on right now with them throwing apps that are centered with other content. For example, Silicon Valley Season 4 just started, and there's an app in relation to that. Archer Season 8 just started. There's an app in relation to that where you get to play something in the app as the content is delivered. And this is, I think, a way that they're trying to get people to not binge, but to actually watch episodic content.
Indeed. So the new manga series will debut for free in the Line Manga app on May 4th, with new chapters debuting every Thursday. So, and the website describes the novel story below. It says, the reign of the Galactic Empire has reached the Outer Rim, planet of Jolokan? I don't know. Where aristocratic Thane Krell and rule villager, there's a lot of weird names here, Sienna Ray, bond over their love of flying, enrolling at the Imperial Academy together to become fighter pilots for the glorious Empire. And this
people wanting to leave their homeworld to go and be pilots? Wow,
right?
where did that idea come from?
Indeed. So, and that continues. There's a link in the show notes for that. But the new manga will launch a new campaign on the app Manga Indies program, which allows users to submit their own original mangas. So users can submit their manga from May 4th to the 31st, and a committee will nominate a list out of the submitted ones. Wow, that's pretty cool.
Did you say indie?
What?
I'm just kidding, because there's news later.
Oh, yeah. No,
All
we'll
right.
talk about that later.
We will.
Goodness.
All right, so tell me about this next one, because I'm sure you have your copy of
I am. I'm halfway through. I'm halfway through the Thrawn novel.
How is it?
It's excellent. Oh
Well,
God, it's
Timothy Zahn. I mean, come on.
But the story, the approach they took to the story was very different than I thought they were going to take. So I'm halfway through it because I listen to a lot of different things.
Yes, you do.
So I blazed through half of it, and I'm going to go back to it and probably finish it this weekend while I'm on the golf course. But it's really cool. But there's an interview on StarWars.com with Timothy Zahn talking about his new novel Thrawn. If you want to check out Thrawn, obviously this is a shameless plug for us, but get it for free on us, audibletrial.com/usual podcast, and you can check out this Awesome novel. But it's already out, which is cool. And there's a whole interview here. I'm definitely not going to go through the whole interview. But it talks about the correct pronunciation of the Admiral's full name. It's talking about his original creation with the character, the reaction at celebration, reaction when they announced it, that kind of thing. So it's a really cool interview. I didn't do the interview, and I'm not going to read this whole interview.
No,
but
the link is in the show notes.
Definitely worth checking out. And if you're a Timothy Zahn fan, and if you are a big fan of Mark Thompson's narration of Star Wars novels,
and he's phenomenal,
you definitely need to get it on Audible. So
he does a great solo.
Yeah. Let's talk about episode 9, dude.
Yeah, there's a couple things about episode 9 that came out.
We already talked about.
About the release date, which we said was May, but it's actually May 24th of 2019.
Right.
So we're just over 2 years away.
Yep.
But the other thing is the script is just now getting finished, and it's undergoing its first script reading soon, which is where they bring in the characters. If you remember, the very first photo we ever got that J.J. Abrams posted from Force Awakens was them all sitting around the room. And that's reading the script.
And we talked about that quite a bit when that came out. That was one of my favorite shots.
It's a great picture.
And after the fact, we learned that because Mark Hamill had 0 lines in the film, he actually read the script, the narration parts of the script, while they did that. So that was cool. But I'm intrigued to see when this happens, and I can't wait for the Instagram shots, to be honest with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, the other news that just hit today. Rian Johnson, who wrote and is directing episode 8, he was always listed as the writer for episode 9.
Right.
Turns out not true. He released a tweet that said that hasn't been true for a while, which goes to show that Lucasfilm can hold secrets still.
Yeah.
He wrote the original treatment of it for the story base, but Trevorrow, who's directing, picked up the script writing duties.
Oh, nice.
So
it's Colin Trevorrow.
Yeah. Colin Trevorrow is writing the script for 9.
Sweet.
And like I said, he's wrapping it up now. They're going to get the first script reading.
Well, and I think because of what we talked about last week with Carrie Fisher and everything else, I mean, all of that stuff had to be tweaked.
Oh, yeah.
Quite a bit.
Yeah. So in the last 6 months, tons of story stuff had to have changed, I'm sure.
Exactly. So going to Han Solo, this is just one of those really quick little stories. There was Harrison Ford interviewed, was talking about the young Han Solo movie, and he's basically, and of course, Harrison. He's like, well, I think it'd be a little weird, don't you? and yeah, it would be weird.
Honestly, wouldn't sound like it'd be kind of weird. Young Han.
But think about it. I mean,
plane landing.
You've played this role for how long, and then all of a sudden, then you see a young version of yourself playing it. That's got to be kind of a trip, and especially knowing that you are not going to be in it, anything going forward or backwards. So
exactly,
you're kind of done.
It's kind of similar to Carrie Fisher's reaction when she saw the young Leia at the end of Rogue One.
Yeah, exactly. Last Jedi news. This kind of caught me off guard a little bit.
Really?
And well, not really, but at the same time,
the fact that they actually addressed it.
Yeah, the fact that Lucasfilm addressed it. Like, I get the fan theories.
Right.
I get the fan theories that, okay, so what we're talking about, obviously I buried the lead here. There's fan theories about Finn and Poe becoming, having a relationship, being together.
So
right?
Are they called Pen or Foe?
Well, look, I don't know what their couple name is, but what it comes down to...
Sorry, I believe that's called their shipper name.
Oh, okay, whatever. So Lucasfilm basically says, look, that's not really in the plan, but we're not counting out completely, essentially.
Right.
I mean, I feel like they're treading this line of like, that's not necessarily in our plan right now.
Right, it's not in the cards for what they really want.
But we're not negating completely because...
Well, the thing is, I think they both have such rich stories that they need to develop on their own. For obviously with Rey, she's off with Luke.
Right.
Poe, we have to figure out what's going on with the life tree, the Force tree.
True, from the comics and stuff.
Yeah, his parents and stuff. So they've got to address that.
Yeah, for sure. So I'd be interested to see how this goes. I mean, shoot, they work well together.
Yeah, they do. They do have good chemistry.
Yeah, so it's all good with me.
I said Finn, and I was talking about Poe, and I meant forget Finn.
Wait, what did you say?
Are they?
Finn and Poe they be a couple in The Last Jedi. That's the headline.
Okay, not Finn and
That's
Poe.
what we're talking about. Yeah, that's what it says. Finn and Poe.
Open the article. Read it again.
It says it in the title, dude. I didn't retype the title.
Okay, think about that again.
Finn and Poe will be a couple in The Last Jedi.
We're gonna have a gay couple on screen.
That's what I'm insinuating.
Oh wow, I didn't even think about that.
That's what we're talking about, bro.
Sorry, I was thinking about Ray. I was thinking Ray and
For God's sake, man.
wow, I just went.
Keep up. Think outside the box. So Will's leaving the room. I have offended him.
No, I have no problem with that.
Okay. Let's go back.
I'm all for that.
Should we
That's a total bromance. Okay,
yeah,
I'm okay
let's
with that.
reassess what we're talking about.
Yeah,
You
for some reason in my head I had Ray and Poe.
gotta get outside of your thing, dude.
I know, right?
Just saying. So again, countless fans pour over every detail, etc. And he says, although people question Rey's parentage, that drove Kylo to the blah blah blah. And it says specifically, are Finn and Poe Dameron going to hook up? So Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy acknowledged that she's aware of the fan theory and campaign to put the Resonance X-wing pilot and a relationship with the First Order deserter, among others. Unfortunately, don't expect to see it happen in The Last Jedi, but she's not ruling it out to happen entirely.
What's really funny about this? Have you seen the movie Central Intelligence with The Rock and Kevin Hart?
Nope.
Okay, well, the whole basis for the movie is that The Rock is a fat kid in high school.
Yeah, I want to see that.
Yeah,
I know
it's
the
pretty
premise.
funny.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is like, and Kevin Hart's like the ultimate guy, right?
Right. And even though he's like 2 feet tall.
Exactly. Well, in the movie, The Rock gets Kevin Hart's Letterman jacket, and you find out later that he like sleeps in it almost every night. And I'm like, that's what I want to. I want to see Finn sleeping in Poe's jacket
He's like,
every
"Oh,
night.
This is my jacket.
It smells like you.
That's great. All right, so are we on the same page now?
Yeah, now we're on the same page, and I'm all for it.
That's great. I figured you would be. I was like, what are you confused about? I thought
I
the
was
title
like-
spoke volumes.
I was like trying to call you out. I'm like, read that. I'm like, I really did not see it. Going
It's like
there.
last week. Can I make it any clearer? Will Finn and Poe be in a relationship?
Sorry, folks.
Moving on. Merchandise. What the frick?
Yeah, so they're releasing a new Star Wars Build-A-Bear.
Love it.
And they're also going to have an R2-D2 plush.
Nice.
There's pictures in the article. Follow it if you want, but
I'm just saying.
new merch.
The Build-A-Bears are important, I think, for the downtown Disneys of the world. Because
Yes.
there's always those. And, boy, those places make a killing. I could not imagine how much money those places are making. But my kids love the Build-A-Bears. And you can't walk out of there for less than $100.
You know what I want? I want to get a Kylo Ren Build-A-Bear,
Yeah.
but then have the voice say the lines from the Saturday Night Live skit. Kylo Ren's a chump bitch.
Well, let's make that happen. All right, so we have well, it's not a lot of parks news. It's all almost the same parks news. I want to save this one for the end. But let's talk about the Collector's Fortress
Yes, which is
Okay.
what's taking over. Tower of
for
Terror.
Tower of Terror in the Disney parks. So what it's coming down to is it looks like there's going to be 6 different routes.
Yeah, very similar in style to like what they did with Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
There's so many different combinations.
Different combinations that you can experience, right? So it looks like let's see, they actually looks like a name. You can check out the possibilities. The Guardians Ride has a total of 6 experiences available for riders to sample. The routes do not require any different movements from the elevator, but riders will be able to meet with different members of the
Guardians of the
superhero
Galaxy
team
Volume
story,
2.
which
Is it better
great.
than
And that's
2014's
kind of
original?
similar to,
No. But also, yes. The second outing of the first
Radiator
hero to take
Springs,
on the
the
Marvel
Ridge
cosmos
Racers
in
ride,
the cinematic universe
where
is a much
there's a
more
couple
personal
different
ride
paths.
with
You can get
faces
your
like
tires
Drax and
done.
Yondu
That's a
getting
great
some
job.
welcome development,
Man,
but the
that's good.
major
And
focus
it's-
remaining
it's
on
so
Peter
cool to,
Quill
like,
exploring his relationship
know,
with
like,
his
oh, what am I
long-lost
gonna get
father,
this time?
Ego
That
the
kind of
Living
thing, right?
Planet,
So
played
it looks
charmingly
like some of the
by Kurt
possibilities are
Russell.
Drax
Starting
versus
off with a
Beast,
fun and brilliant
drones,
continuous shot of
escape,
Baby Groot
anti-gravity,
dancing to the second track of Awesome Mix
Obelisk
Volume 2
Attack,
while
and
chaos
Quill
ensues around him.
versus
It's
Orlan.
clear
I don't
this
know what
movie
it
is
is,
going to
but,
follow the lead of its predecessor with the
and it's gonna
genius
be
and
teamed up with
ironic
different
James
songs,
Gunn humor the world
timed
fell
with
in love with.
different
In
songs,
fact, the
obviously.
humor is so heavily
and-
injected into this film that
So
it
a
manages
full
to
list of
both
tracks in
carry
Red
a
Below.
second
It's like,
act, which
I Want
loses
You
a bit of
Back,
focus,
Jackson
but
5.
also extend a few
Hit Me
scenes
With Your
which
Best
could have been
Shot,
cut
Cat
shorter
Better
in favor
Tire.
of some
Give it
more
up the-
pressing
give up the
storylines.
funk.
The highlight of the film
Parliament.
is
Oh,
not
perfect.
the
Well,
excellent
Wild
addition of
Steppenwolf,
Complimenty Mantis, the
Burning
introduction
Love,
of
Elvis
several
Presley, and
iconic
Free
and
Ride.
key unexpected Marvel characters and
Edgar
glorified cameo
I-
for the
if
abundant
I get to
80s
Jackson
references.
5 on my first
Instead,
run,
the highlight
I
is
will just
actually
get right
Michael
back on
Rooker's
and
Yondu,
hope that
which
I get
proves
it
it
again.
is
I
time
love
to
that
start
so
taking
much.
this
No, that's a
former
great song.
Walking
I would
Dead
be all
actor
about the,
seriously. Rooker steals the show in his scenes with Sean Gunn's Kraglin and Bradley
The third one you said.
Yep, just close it. The Pat Benatar song?
No.
I'll open it back up so that you can get what you need.
Oh, there's an ad playing in the background.
I know, because I didn't pause it. Sorry. The third one was Give Up the Funk.
Yeah, Parliament.
Yeah,
yeah, Parliament I'm all about.
Cool. Now, there's an article in here. There's a little bit of a tour of that ride.
Okay.
And I don't... And so I don't know. I've seen a lot of these pictures before. This is the only picture I've seen on any of the articles that I've clicked on this week where there's an interior shot, which is pretty badass. And I don't know if this is the cue. Like, I'm trying to dive too much into it because really what I want to do is
go in blind.
Walk into this ride.
Exactly.
And be like, I'm finally in Guardians. Like,
right. Well, it's
that'll
opening
make me
this summer,
happy.
right?
I think so.
I think it's July.
I mean, I think they're trying to sync it up. I mean, the movie comes out next week.
Yeah.
Right. So, it says guests will be. Let's see. I just want to see rare. Oh, so this is like. So there's a lot of boxes. Like the collector has these boxes and what he's collecting.
Right.
Those look like they're hanging from the ceiling, which looks pretty sweet. And the outside, which we showed last week, it looks pretty damn.
Yeah,
cool,
I'm very excited about this.
Yeah. So I cannot wait.
Okay, this next story, you sent me a video yesterday.
Well, because I get push notifications from Twitter all the time from certain things.
And so you sent me this Twitter notification,
Yeah.
and I immediately watched it, first of all. And second, sent it around to my family, and they all loved it.
So I've heard that he does this.
Yeah.
Okay, and he's done it before. And I think we've talked about it before. But
there's video of this.
Yeah, so I have a link in the show notes.
I don't know. Should we just open up the video?
Yeah, maybe. So the title of it is Johnny Depp is playing Jack Sparrow live in Disneyland.
Right.
Now, if you are apparently, if you're Johnny Depp, I mean, we can all dream, right?
Okay, well, you know how like Chris Evans
You say stuff. I'll get this set up.
Yeah, you know how Chris Evans and Chris Pratt, they'll dress up in their costumes and go to like hospitals and stuff like that.
Yep.
Johnny Depp does the same thing with his Jack Sparrow costume. There's one I remember. I think it was some British boy that wanted him to come to school, and so he went to the kid's school dressed as Jack Sparrow.
Oh my God, what's crazy? I'm gonna override all this stuff back here. Sorry, real quick. What's crazy about this to me is personally, this is my favorite ride in the park.
It's a great ride.
I have always loved Pirates, and then they upgraded it. They put when the new movies came out.
They put in all the Jack Sparrow.
Still great.
Yes.
And you can see Jack Sparrow in various locations, but the people's reactions to this, and this is somebody's obviously filming as they're coming down the ride, but they're like, holy crap, that's Johnny Depp literally in the ride.
Yeah, and he's interacting with them.
And it's 50 seconds, so if you're not into this, I'm sorry, but I think this is pretty badass, so check it out.
Johnny Depp. Oh my God.
I need a way out. I would like to commandeer your ship. Everyone jump out into the water. No, obviously. Don't do that. I'll just jump in your boat. Hello. How do you do?
We love you.
Oh my gosh. What are your names? All of you?
Johnny Depp. Oh my God.
How crazy is that, right?
How awesome is that?
Well, what makes me laugh about it is they're like, oh my God, that's Johnny Depp. And they're like, I love you, I love you, I love you. And he's like, oh, what are your names? How you doing over there?
Like, all right, I'm going to jump into your ship.
Yeah.
And you're going to jump out into the water. You can stay. And
He's like, well, that's not a good idea. Hold on. I'll just come in there. So I love stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you do? And I'm an idiot. I like to think of the logistics. If I'm Johnny Depp, do I just show up to Disneyland in the outfit and be like, okay, guys, I'm ready to go into the ride.
Well, it was.
I mean, it's just.
It was done ahead of time. I don't know if I ever told you this. I was at Disneyland about 10 years ago. I mean, I've been multiple times, but about 10 years ago, and me and some family members, we were sitting there watching Fantasmic.
Yeah.
And one of the places we love to watch Fantasmic is at the River Belle Terrace, which is right across from Pirates, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we were sitting there, and I will tell you this is before the MCU launched. We turn around, and who's standing behind us watching Fantasmic? John Favreau.
What?
Yes.
Favreau?
Favreau was there. My sister Stephanie went up and got his autograph and everything.
Oh, that's sick, dude. That's
and
awesome.
there was because they were doing some big, huge ABC launch event.
Yeah.
Because we were in line at Big Thunder Mountain later that night.
Yeah.
And they whisked aboard. It was either Lindsay Lohan or Britney Spears through the exit, and like her and her entourage came through and jumped
cool,
on.
man. Well, anything else Star Wars wise?
No, I think that's pretty much it. It's time to move on to the usual roundup.
I can't imagine any kind of future where I'm a hero. Well, you're not. In the future, none of you are heroes. You're legends.
So as always,
Yeah, we got to start off with some bad news. But yesterday, John.
I mean, if you ever ask anybody, do you want the good news or the bad news? They want the bad news first,
because then you can finish on a high note.
Then we're done.
Right.
Okay, go.
We lost an iconic filmmaker this week. Yesterday, Jonathan Demme passed away at the age of 73.
Yeah.
He didn't make a ton of movies.
But like Silence of the Lambs.
Silence of the Lambs. Oscar-winning director for Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a classic.
Right. There was another list of the stuff that he did too. Let's see. He did Silence of the Lambs, Philadelphia.
Philadelphia's great.
And I think Stop Making Sense, which I've never seen. Is a documentary.
Oh, about the Talking Heads.
Yeah. But man, I mean, it's funny if you follow pop culture and listen to pop culture podcasts. Everybody talks about this director in one way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Now that he's gone,
he's
because
influential.
He has. I mean, people like this have a huge impact on the creators.
Yeah.
Of the pop culture.
Yeah, I mean, to kind of give you an idea. I mean, a director is obviously the person who brings it all together, right? It's his vision, his or her vision, and in the history of the Oscars, I mean, we had like La La Land this year got nominated for 14 awards. I mean, you can get a whole bunch of awards. Like Return of the King got 13 awards, mostly technical awards and some stuff like that. But there's only 3 films in the history of the Oscars to do what they call sweeping the Oscars, which is to win Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor, Best Actress, and Best Writing.
Oh, wow.
Okay? And the only 3 movies to do it are It Happened One Night back in the 30s.
Okay.
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest in 1975.
Right.
And Silence of the Lambs in 1992.
Wow, that's crazy. Well, I mean, to steal from Old Smith, Big Bucket of Win, that's amazing.
Yeah, amazing.
And also super sad.
Yeah, and he trained his nephew, who's also a big time director.
But 73 years old.
73. I mean,
I mean, younger than than he probably should have been. But it is what it is.
Yeah, but at least we got him here while he was here.
Exactly. So X-Files is coming back.
Yeah, we actually mentioned this at the end of last week's show.
So we're in our rear review section right now, and I couldn't remember if we talked about this last week because you rattled off a bunch of stuff.
We
at the
did,
end of the week.
but we got a little bit of news. It's going to be 10 episodes. Which
10 episodes.
The last season they did was only 6. So it's great they're going to be able
was
to
it 6? I thought it was 8. It was 6. You're right.
6.
Yeah. So they're coming back, 10 episode event, which is badass. And what is this guy?
They are doing a Boondock Saints prequel TV series.
That's awesome.
I hope I mean, if it's not on a premium channel, which it should be because it's going to be violent.
Oh yeah.
It better at least be on AMC because they can get away with more stuff there. Now there is no word on whether, because it's a prequel, so it's going to be when they're younger. So we don't know if it's going to be Sean Patrick Flannery,
right,
or Norman Reedus, who's now gone on to play Daryl in The Walking Dead.
Oh wow!
On whether they're going to come back, but they're also in talks to do a Boondock Saints 3.
Sweet.
So first of all, if you haven't watched Boondock Saints, watch it.
I haven't.
They're phenomenal movies.
I believe you. I've heard that, but I haven't seen it.
Next
one's all you, dude.
Yeah, we got some really interesting movie news. I'm a big David Fincher fan. So if you don't know Fincher, I mean, he did The Game, he did Social Network, lots of great stuff.
Right.
He has been signed on to do World War Z 2.
And I did not see the first one, actually.
It's pretty good. It's not quite.
That's Pitt, right?
Yeah, Brad Pitt was in it. The thing about it is you either really liked it or you really didn't, because depending on the source material, the source book is written by Max Brooks, who's
that I know. Mel Brooks' kid.
Mel Brooks' kid.
Yeah.
And he really got into the socio-political governmental aspects of a zombie outbreak.
Right.
Whereas the movie was basically turned into Zombies Are Fast.
Indeed.
But I still really enjoyed it. I thought
if
the
zombies
movie
are fast, we're all done.
Exactly.
Which is terrifying.
But I thought it was a very enjoyable movie to watch. I thought the scenes were really good.
Yeah.
So I really liked it. So I'd really like to see what David Fincher comes up with.
Totally.
I hope it's actually a little bit darker, which you would hopefully get with Fincher.
Okay, bro, this next one kills me.
I almost brought up this idea last week.
Too late.
Right.
They already nailed it officially. The Rock and Jason Statham are officially getting a Fast and the Furious spin-off movie.
Okay, well,
we're doing spin-offs.
Okay, well, if you haven't,
we're already going to Fast 10.
If you haven't seen Fate of the Furious, they have great chemistry on screen together.
Sure,
and they are enjoyable to see together. In
I love
7.
both those actors. By the way,
they're great and they're hilarious. The thing about this is, if you remember, there was all this like behind the scenes drama behind The Rock and Vin Diesel. During the last
contrived
production.
or not, who knows?
Right. Well, evidently, the thing is there's been a post-credit sequence on every movie since the third one. There wasn't on this one. The rumor was that there was going to be a standalone scene between The Rock and Jason Statham.
And that's going to be this?
Just as the post-credit scene, and that was going to launch the spinoff.
Interesting.
Until Vin Diesel nixed it. And that's why it was taken off of off the theatrical release.
All right.
But it looks like they're getting the film anyways.
Do it.
Which I'm all for, because I think those two together would be hilarious.
I would almost rather see that than the next Fast movie.
There's a really funny scene in Fate 8 where Jason Statham is dealing with a baby on an airplane during a gunfight.
Oh.
And it is flipping hilarious.
A baby? Okay.
Yes.
All right. Continue.
So there's been long time rumors of a new Austin Powers movie coming out. Because, it's been almost 15 years since the last one.
So it's time to have another one?
Well, Mike Myers...
I'm confused on why we do this.
Okay. Well, there's a huge swell of reboots and remakes and all that stuff.
Wait, there is?
Really? Go figure.
Weird.
And Mike Myers obviously doesn't need the money because he makes money hand over fist for Shrek.
Yeah, no, he's
and
good.
As we already talked about a few weeks ago, they're doing a new Shrek movie.
Yeah, he's good to go forever.
Jay Roach, who directed all the Austin Powers movies, is also on board. But Myers has actually taken a big break recently because he lost his father.
Oh,
and the Austin Powers movies are very heavily centered on father drama.
Yep.
So now that he's like distanced himself from the loss of his father, he wants to kind of pay homage to that in writing a new film that kind of deals with that.
Okay.
In the Austin Powers films, which dealt a lot with fatherhood.
Oh, I like that. That'd be cool.
Yeah, so that'd be very cool. There's no meetings being had, no nothing. It's just the fact that Myers and Roach have both come out and said they want to do an Austin Powers 4.
That's a start.
I mean, to kind of give you an idea how long it's been since the last one. The last one had Beyonce in it as a rising star.
I love it. And she's like veteran.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, wait, what? Oh, you added this. Is this the He-Man thing falling through?
Yeah. Okay. No, it's not falling through. Okay. Actually, there's two things. I'm going to jump forward. We have one release date really quick I want to mention.
Okay.
Masters of the Universe has been given a release date for December 18th of 2019.
Okay.
They've lost the director, though.
Bummer.
The director was Mick G, who's obviously he was known for music videos. But
we were talking about that.
He did Charlie's Angels. He did a whole bunch of other stuff. And it's not. I don't think it's as bad as like when The Flash has been lost like 2 directors now.
Right.
Which we actually have some news about that.
Oh.
But Mick G is just stepping back from it.
Okay.
It could be scheduling conflicts, whatever. They'll get another director, but they're still staying firm to the release date.
All right, that's something.
Right.
Because I want to see the He-Man movie.
Yeah,
I want to see that happen.
Exactly.
I don't know enough about this. I actually had this in the outline, and I decided to let it go because I didn't know enough about the first part.
Okay, there's spoilers, so I'm going to give everybody a little bit of a warning here because it is a fairly recent film, but it is already available digitally, so it's not a big deal.
Are you going to give the twist, though?
You kind of... Okay, I won't give the exact twist.
All right.
Okay.
I kind of want to see it, but go ahead.
Well, I mean, you already know what the overall... Okay, the movie is Split with James McAvoy, where he plays a schizophrenic... Well, a multiple personality disorder sufferer who has 23, maybe 24 distinct personalities in his head.
Right.
At the end of the movie, this is an M. Night Shyamalan movie, and Shyamalan loves his twists. At the end of the movie, he connects it to a previous work of his. Okay? He has come out and said now that character, the James McAvoy character, was originally slated to be in the earlier film as a major character.
Okay.
So now what they're doing is they're doing a third movie.
Of course they are.
Called Glass.
Glass, yep.
And it's going to bring in those two storylines.
All right, that makes more sense because I didn't get any of that story.
Yeah.
I didn't see any of that. So,
which I haven't said the names, but if you know Glass, you know what the first movie is.
Indeed.
We'll get to some casting news.
Yeah, Kevin Hart. What?
Talking about Kevin Hart, and he did. He's just it seems to be in everything nowadays. They are doing a remake of the Dan Aykroyd, John Candy movie, The Great Outdoors.
Are they really? Oh my god!
And he is going to be taking the spot of the Dan Aykroyd character.
Okay.
There's no word on who's going to be playing the Candy character. A lot of people are thinking it might be Mike Epps.
Well, Dan Aykroyd's character, refresh my memory.
He was kind of the jackass.
Okay, got it. Okay.
He was the one that was married to Annette Bening. In the movie.
Okay, got it. Okay.
Yeah, so that's it.
Cool. Riverdale, which I personally love, and the latest episode is airing tonight, which I'm excited about.
I'm 3 episodes back.
Oh, it's so good. But Reggie Mantle, who plays the jerk jock. Oh, you like that? Jerk jock?
Yeah.
The jerk jock kid, he has a bunch of conflicts coming up, and so they're going to recast him. So he's this guy in the middle here. Will, because he's the only one that can see it. But if you're watching the show, he's not a very consequential character in the show right now. No, but he's a villain of sorts because he's a bully.
He's an antagonist.
Yeah, antagonist. I think they say something like that in here. But anyway, the bottom line is they're recasting him. They haven't said who yet, but it is what it is. He's a major character in the comics, and he was actually significant enough to be in the theme song to the Archie show, the animated series, which ran for 17 episodes. So he's not. It's not like.
He hasn't really been pulled into the modern storyline yet.
Right. But I think the plan was I think the plan was to probably bring him into the fold more later.
And bring him into season 2.
And so I think that's why they're going to have to recast him.
Right.
So that makes more sense. All right.
All right, so Jurassic World 2, which is already in production, we already know. And as you heard earlier in Podcast Corner, I'm a big fan of like LA noir type stuff.
Yeah.
And so back in LA Confidential, I love James Cromwell.
Okay.
He was also in Babe. He was in a whole bunch of stuff. He has long been known that he's going to be in Jurassic World 2. Well, his character was announced what it was today.
Oh, yeah?
And he is playing a guy named Ben something, and the name's inconsequential, doesn't really matter. But he plays John Hammond's original partner in InGen.
No way.
So it's a major tieback to Jurassic Park.
That's pretty cool. All right, and we have a bunch of... that's cool.
I know, right?
It's actually... I'm more intrigued by that than I thought it'd be.
Exactly.
It's nifty.
When I saw these little bits of news, I almost creamed my pants.
Okay, well, that's graphic, but that's fine. So we have Indiana Jones got a release date.
Yes!
Okay. Do you know what it is?
I do want to know what it is.
So this comes on the heels of... This is from StarWars.com, actually.
Right.
Comes on the heels of Episode 9 release date being announced.
Yes.
And the Indiana Jones series, which is, in addition, the 5th chapter of the Indiana Jones series is now confirmed for a July 10th, 2020 release.
Nice.
Steven Spielberg, director of every Indiana Jones film, and Harrison Ford will return.
Yes.
How badass is that?
I'm very excited.
So, there we go. Riverdale cast Hiram Lodge for season 2, which is actually cool because we have no Hiram Lodge.
No, he's a character spoken about a lot, but not shown because he's in jail.
Indeed. I don't know where these other ads are coming from, but he's kind of in the background of all of the stuff that's going on in Riverdale. And they cast. Let me find the name. I thought I had it. Who is it? Hold on, let's see. Where is it?
He plays a Charles Ponzi type person who went to jail for Ponzi scheming.
Yeah, it's like a Ponzi scheme. But who did they actually give us a name?
I didn't read the article, so.
Well, obviously, but I'm just saying. Like,
I hate you so much.
No, I'm just saying. I thought I read it, and now I don't see it.
Everybody in our chat room hates you too, Marshall. I'm just telling you. We've all been hiding it for a long time, but you know.
No, I'll just read it while everybody waits. How about that?
It's been a while.
Well, he's going to appear in season 2.
Yes.
Doesn't say the name. In series, there's no name. He's been cast.
Cool. I mean, at least we know that they're going to be finally showing him on screen.
Yeah, well.
It also looks like...
yeah.
I just realized is you put that under release dates instead of casting. It also looks like Shane Black's Predator.
What? Oh, yes. I screwed up.
Yeah, you did. It looks like Shane Black's Predator has been pushed back again. So what's the new date?
Look, I don't know if I can keep up with this Predator thing, man.
You know what the funny thing is about films release dates is they always used to move. We just never learned about it. This is all...
Are you trying to say because we have the internet?
Yes.
Well, here we are. It was originally scheduled on February 9th. And let's see, is now coming out August 3rd, 2018.
Okay, and honestly, this could be one...
That's moved to summer. It'll open against Scarface, the remake, by Joel Cohen, Ethan Cohen, Warner Brothers' Meg, which has Statham, and, well, we already know it's Shane Black. So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's... things move around all the time, and if one thing moves, it waterfalls and dominoes because things open up.
Yep.
Plus, I honestly think Predator would do better in the summer than in February anyways.
Can I just say I secretly hate this next story? But I'm gonna talk about it anyway.
I'm gonna let you say it then.
So, here we are with release dates. Avatar finally gives official release dates to the 20th Century Fox schedule. Avatar 2. I feel like this is going to change by the time I finish reading this.
Oh, of course it will.
Avatar 2 is now scheduled for release date December 18th, 2020. Avatar 3 will be almost exactly a year later on December 17th. And there'll be a 3-year hiatus leading up to the release of Avatar 4, for who knows what reason, on December 20th, 2024. Avatar 5 will arrive on December 19th, 2025. How... the serious F, can you even schedule something that damn far ahead of time?
Why don't you talk to Marvel and Star Wars about that?
I get like...
okay, no, and
I get like you're like saying, hey, we're going to do it roughly this date, but you're saying these exact dates now? It's 2017.
Well, the thing is when you have things that are tentpole like that, you kind of have to, because like I said, it'll move everybody else off the date.
Yeah.
Right? And I think, honestly, Avatar was waiting until... Lucasfilm announced the Star Wars dates and that they were officially moving back to May because Avatar, the first one, released in December. They wanted
that's a really good.
They wanted December back.
That's a good theory, dude. I think you're right. I think the juggernaut that is the MCU and Star Wars.
Yeah, and the MCU pretty much leaves December alone. They're pretty much stuck with April, July,
right,
and November.
Yeah, good point. All right, I'll leave the last two to you.
Yeah, so as we know, Sony and Marvel made the agreement with bringing the Peter Parker Spider-Man into the MCU, but of course Sony still owns the rights to Miles Morales.
Indeed.
And so they're doing their animated Spider-Man that they want to have as the basis for an ongoing film franchise. And the animated movie was originally supposed to come out December 21st of 2018, and they moved it up a week to 12/14.
You know, I just realized.
What?
Anybody tuning in would think we're in the Star Wars section or Star Wars section.
Because you suck.
You know what?
That's why everybody hates you.
Well, there's a lot of reasons. Okay, so what else we got? Master Universe.
Yeah, we are now into Universal Usual, so
you do this
we
one?
actually
The
don't have a
Master-
ton of news.
Did you do the Master of the
Yeah, I
Universe?
mentioned it when we talked about losing the director.
Yeah, we don't have a whole lot. So this kind of irks me a little bit, and I'm not mad. I'm just a little peeved.
Right.
I like Powerless.
I do. We're talking about the DC Extended Universe right now, by the way.
Is that where we're at?
Yes.
I know where we're at. NBC has pulled Powerless from the schedule.
I like Powerless.
Now, and so do I. But here's the weird thing: they haven't canceled it.
No, and it happens where sometimes they'll pull it from the schedule, and
It doesn't. It just doesn't have anywhere to be now.
Right.
And so, will it show up again? Like, who knows? It's in limbo. It's a limbo stage for shows.
Right. So it's pulled from the schedule, but it doesn't necessarily say that. I mean, they've probably finished filming the first season anyways.
Right.
And they'll probably. I mean, they might have a couple episodes they haven't aired yet, and they might just flood them into summer. It's what they used to do with movies or with shows that would get pulled.
Yeah.
But we'll see. As I talked about earlier, we might be bringing somebody from Funko back, coming in to talk about stuff.
Yeah, that'd be great.
But Justice League they just released their Justice League line, or pictures from it, and they look phenomenal.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Check out my Pinterest page in the next couple of days, and I'll make sure they all get posted.
I have a little Batgirl news. There's a possibility Joss Whedon is going to bring Alicia Silverstone in as a cameo.
Okay.
Can I tell you how big of a crush I had on Alicia Silverstone back in
Dude,
the day?
I had such a crush on her too. But the funny thing
I
is,
had like 3 posters of her in Clueless on my wall as a kid, like back in the day.
You're funny.
I'm putting it out there, bro. I'm brave enough to say.
You know what
it.
my favorite Alicia Silverstone movies was?
All right.
Blast from the Past with Brendan Fraser.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, here we are.
All right. So, anyways,
you know what my favorite Alicia Silverstone role is?
What?
Freaking Aerosmith video. Love that Aerosmith video. Okay, let's move
Where
on.
she's hanging from the rope and flipping off the camera.
Look, bro. Her and Liv Tyler.
I know.
You kidding me?
I know. I get you. But the funny thing is she came from like arguably the worst Batman movie ever.
That's fine. It's fine.
All right, go ahead.
It's all gonna be fine.
So this is what I love is, as we know, The Flash has already lost 2 directors.
Yeah.
Right? And guess who is having a meeting to possibly join the ranks?
Robert
Zemeckis.
Seriously?
Yes.
Boy, they're really.
Seriously, if the DCU could pull in both Whedon and Zemeckis, oh my God!
Yeah, they might have something going for them.
Is that a punch in the arm?
Yeah, but a punch in the arm, yes. But let's see what happens when it happens.
Right.
Like that's my thing. Like, I feel like can even those 2 amazing people bring these stories back to where what the MCU is doing? I mean, honestly.
Well, let's see how Wonder Woman and Justice League do.
Yeah,
and we'll see.
I think. Yeah, I don't know. I'm worried a little bit about Wonder Woman.
The closer, that's the one I thought was for sure going to be good.
Yeah.
The closer we're getting to it, I'm getting more worried.
I'm worried about Wonder Woman. Justice League, I think, will have a better chance only because you're going to get multiple audiences that have seen the other content. I don't know, man. I think the Flash movie is a mistake, honestly. I feel like they need to scratch it.
And I like Ezra Miller. I think the biggest mistake, though, is not casting Grant Gustin.
If they're not going to do Gustafson, they need to scratch it. I feel like, and then maybe come back in a couple years and put Grant in there when the Flash TV show's done or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Well, the thing is because even though the Flash movie is like on hard times, he's already filming his stuff for Justice League.
But that's what I mean, man. I mean, I don't know. I think they're making a mistake.
We're just really partial to Grant Gustin because he's phenomenal.
But of course, and it doesn't make sense for the amount of years we've been following him as the Flash on TV on the CW. Why all of a sudden I'm gonna go to
unless they just used a different Flash, but they're actually using the.
But they're using the Barry Allen.
They are,
right? So they don't have an excuse. They're just blowing it.
I mean, they could use any of them.
Yeah, we've harped on this enough, but I honestly think that they are making a misstep here, and I think if they're having a hard time with directors, that's a red flag.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Scratch the project, put it aside, revisit it when the CW series is over, and get Grant in there. I don't know. That's just me.
All right. So as we were talking about Wonder Woman, it's coming up on release date soon. It's next month, I think.
Yeah.
They are starting to do obviously a lot more marketing and stuff. Danica Patrick of the NASCAR series is going to be running a Wonder Woman sponsored car.
No way.
So her car is going to be painted with the logo and everything.
Oh, that's so badass.
And actually, if you open up the article, you'll see pictures, and I'll post them to Pinterest.
You know what she should do is like when she wins, play that loud.
Oh, absolutely.
That'd be sick.
That and her fire retardant suit has got to be red and yellow and blue and.
Oh, that looks sick.
Isn't that a cool color scheme?
Oh, that is sick. Yeah, that's amazing. All right.
We're into Disney now.
Yeah, the Disney stuff is interesting. I just put a link in here for Disney release dates. Some of them are. This is going to get a little redundant, though.
We talked about this a couple weeks ago when we were dealing with CinemaCon.
Okay, so I don't need to really go into that, but Frozen 2 has a release date.
Yeah, that's the new big one.
And there's a casting for Lion King. So let's do Frozen first, since I'm opening that one currently.
I'll open the other one.
And what's interesting about this is it's gonna the release date is gonna be November 27th, 2019, and that is putting it alongside other Disney projects such as Captain Marvel, which is March 8th, and of course May 3rd we've got Infinity War 2 and that kind of stuff. So man, this is a trip. November 27th, 2019. When would the last one come out? 2 years ago?
No, 2013. It's been 3.5 years.
Why so long? I wonder. Interesting.
Well, because it takes about 5 years to do an animated movie.
I guess the animated movies take a while.
Well, 2019 is going to be a big year for that studio because you're going to have Episode 9.
Yeah.
You're going to have Captain Marvel. You're going to have Frozen 2. And also, July 19th, 2019 is when we're going to get the Jon Favreau live-action Lion King. We've already had the casting of Donald Glover playing Simba.
Right.
And Donald Glover's great. He's already in Spider-Man Homecoming.
Yep. Who'd they cast? Because they have Timon and Pumbaa, right?
For Pumbaa, Timon and Pumbaa, who are originally voiced by Nathan Lane and Ernie Cimbella.
Yep.
Seth Rogen is going to be voicing Pumbaa.
Stop it. Seriously?
And then
Seth Rogen is going to do Pumbaa? Oh,
and Billy Eichner from Parks and Rec is going to be voicing Timon.
That's going to be so much fun.
We already know that James Earl Jones is going to be coming back to play Mufasa.
I want to get a handle on the blooper reels and the improvs from Rogen and the other guy.
Oh,
Just the back and forth, I think, just for fun. It'd be great.
Cool.
Anyway. All right. So I thought this was actually really interesting. So the only Netflix piece of news I have really is they're willing to premiere its original movies in theaters, but duh. Like, why wouldn't they?
Yeah, do it.
But what do you think this means for, not to go off on too much of a tangent because we're almost done here, but what do you think this means for, like, Hulu, Amazon, Netflix original movies? If they do well, if they turn around and put them in theaters, doesn't that change the whole dynamic of Hollywood and movie making?
Well, we're already kind of going that way anyways. I mean, if you look at for minor releases, they would either have straight to DVD or would hit limited number of screens.
Yeah.
What they do now is they have a little bit of a wider release, but they also release them digital the same day.
That's true.
So they're just going to be doing more like that, where you're not going to have like a Netflix original movie releasing to 3,000 plus screens,
right,
or 4,000 plus in like Blockbuster screens. You're going to have it releasing to like between 500 to 1,500 screens in major markets, and for those people that aren't in those markets, they can watch it at home.
That's a good point. I got rid of that top one. So Marvel Studios changed the release date for one. So we're in Marvel news now.
Right.
They changed the release date for one of its untitled films. And now this is weird to me. Like, they haven't named the film, yet they've changed the release date.
Right. Well, because a couple of reasons. And actually, we'll get to an article later that talks about how Kevin Feige doesn't know if MCU will have an official Phase 4. I mean, we already know... Right. Because they're starting to do more. I mean, we already had like Iron Man 3, and they had the Thor movies worked out. But now, because of the phenomenal success of like Guardians of the Galaxy, we're getting a Guardians of the Galaxy 2 and a Guardians of the Galaxy 3. They're throwing in more sequels, and so therefore they have to move certain projects around.
So it basically says the release date pushed from July 10th, 2020 to August 7th, 2020.
Right.
It's a 1 month delay, and it's not a long one, but it lets fans know Marvel Studios will be aiming for the film to have a late summer, early fall premiere.
And just because they haven't named the title doesn't mean they haven't started pre-production on it.
True.
Right? I mean, because we already know Ant-Man and the Wasp is already in production. Captain Marvel's just about to start off production. Black Panther is just wrapping up production. They always are on these. There's always those three things going on. And so for something with 2020, you're probably 3 movies out. So like right now, they're just about to start production on Captain Marvel. You're looking at 2 more after that. So you're going to have Infinity War 2, whatever they want to call it. Right. And then you're going to have the 3rd one after that.
Right.
And then you're going to start getting into that new cycle.
All right.
So right now they're in probably script writing on it.
Yeah, good point. I'm going to get rid of this next one too.
Okay.
James Gunn says Guardians of the Galaxy could feature an LGBT character, which cool.
You know what?
I feel like I'm frustrated that this is
that is news.
These last 4 shows we've done, we've talked about an LGBT character appearing in something.
Right. And what I would love is like, and I'm all for it. Fantastic.
Well, obviously. But we've talked about it.
But why is it news?
Right.
Like
that's what I'm getting frustrated.
Honestly, this keeps reminding me back to that Joss Whedon quote of why do you write strong female characters?
Stop asking me the goddamn question.
Exactly. That's what it is. It's like, and that's a really good point. It's like, why do they keep writing articles about this?
Right.
Because people still question the validity of it.
But again, I mean, TV.
I just hate the fact that we have to make it news to make it mainstream.
Which is why I'm not diving into it. I don't really give a crap who the character might or may not be. That's not the point. I put this in here because it kind of fired me up because we, the wife and I watch a lot of different shows, and we're at the point now where in the first episode of Riverdale, right, you get female characters kissing each other to prove a point. But then you also have we spent enough time on it 2 weeks ago talking about the Doctor Who character,
right? And then just last week we were talking about the new Warriors or the new mutants with the new person joining up with Squirrel Girl.
Exactly. So I'm glad it's happening.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm frustrated that it
has to be news to me making
always
it palatable.
News. Yeah. And so anyway, great if it's happening, cool, but I just really want them to do it because it works for the story, not because they're doing it because they feel like they should. Because you see what I'm saying?
Like, I mean, like, how would you feel if there was an article saying we're going the Doctor Who's going to have its first black actor?
Yeah, it's like
a black companion.
What?
Oh, but the thing is, think about it. 40 years ago, that you would, even though we don't think it should have been as big of a deal,
right?
It still needed to be news to make sure it happens again.
And I'm glad, and that's why I'm saying I'm glad it's happening. I'm glad it's happening because I want everybody to understand that it's happening because people don't want it to happen. There's certain people that don't want it to happen. So I'm glad it's happening. So this is going to be great no matter what. So
absolutely.
And with something like Guardians, holy crap.
Oh, and the thing is, when it's much more cosmic like that, and it takes it out of the realm of America.
Yeah.
And it's in space,
right?
It can be anything.
You make it sci-fi, you make it kind of alien, but at the same time, the genders are matching up, and you're making people look at it in that way,
right? And this is one of the things that I will say right now, I'm obviously more of a Star Wars fan than a Star Trek fan. I'm not much of a Trekker,
indeed.
But that was one of the brilliant things that the original show had of Star Trek is that it was great with social commentary. I mean, you can say that Kirk was a womanizer and he slept with a female on every planet he went to. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, it didn't matter what color the aliens were.
Right. He was like, oh, you're blue.
You're green. You're red. He kissed Uhura. It's like it didn't matter.
Yeah, that's a good point, man.
And that was a very...
no, I like that.
Not very palatable concept in the early 60s.
Right. All right. Let's get away from that.
Yes.
So back to the Phase 4.
Yeah, so it's just he's saying that the whole idea of the phases has been going on for about a decade now.
Yeah.
It's just might have outlived its usefulness in the planning concept of it. To us consumers, it means absolutely nothing.
It's more of a story group sitting around saying, okay, This we're gonna do in phase 1. This we're gonna do in phase 2. This is phase 3. This is phase 4. But why do they have to announce it to us
And
that they're in a phase?
And this is going back to the idea because we're on the internet and release dates changing is it's more news to feed the beast. But
And-
it's not stuff that really makes our movie going in any different.
And now that I think about it, it's like, okay, if I had to think about it, so we must be in phase 3.
Yeah, we're in phase 3 right now.
So here we are.
Yeah, and phase 3 is supposed to end with.
I'm pretty hip on these things. Infinity War, right?
Actually, Infinity War 2.
Right, that's what I mean.
Right.
Yeah.
So Kevin Feige came out and this week and talked about Howard the Duck, and this is very important because Howard the Duck was shown in a post-credit scene for the original Guardians of the Galaxy.
Right.
So people were wondering would he show up again, right? And Kevin Feige has come out and said he will appear sometime. We don't know when, and that's the great thing about Howard the Duck.
Yeah.
Is that the character itself in the comics and everything, he pops up in places that you don't.
Yeah, he's just like, hey, here I am.
Hey, here I am. It's right. So, I mean, so it's awesome.
I love it.
Right?
I love it.
So, I mean, he showed up in the collector's cases before, but the thing is, he could pop up. Honestly, how cool would it be if he is like one of the gladiators waiting to go out
that would be cool.
in Ragnarok?
Yeah, that'd be
I mean,
sick.
just something simple like that
Yeah.
would be awesome. Yeah.
I'm with you, man. All right, so some Guardians Volume 2 stuff. Obviously, we've heard from some folks in the chat room who are international listeners.
Yes.
Thank you for listening internationally.
Yes, that's right.
But I mean, obviously, it's killing it.
Yeah, it crushed it day one.
Yeah, it said like 6.6 million, I think, the first.
Yeah, and the thing
night.
is, it actually hasn't released in China yet. So
No, it
China and the
says-
U.S. are the two biggest markets.
It says James Gunn's space opera sequel earned 6.6 million on the first night, which leaves it behind only the original Avengers.
Nice.
And these numbers more than double the opening debut of the first Guardians film, and that was 2.9 million. So
Very
it's
cool.
gonna do great.
It
And
will.
I'm happy about it.
It's going to be huge.
Speaking of which, Chris Pratt says he'll always renew his Marvel contract. He's a moron if he doesn't.
No, well, the thing is,
Plus he loves it.
He does, but you got RDJ and Chris Hemsworth and Chris Evans loved it too, but they're now a decade into it.
Right.
It's a little bit different on the far side of $50 million paydays.
Right.
So we'll see. But I honestly don't think Chris Pratt's that type of person.
No.
I think he doesn't take roles I think he takes roles because they're enjoyable.
Yeah, and you can tell Chris Pratt isn't when he takes a role, he's enjoying himself.
Yes.
And it Parks and Rec, I think, is if you've never seen him in Parks and Rec, go and watch any episode where he is either hanging out or fairly prominent, and you can tell he's having a wonderful time.
And you got to remember, he's getting money from the Jurassic World franchise too,
Yeah.
so it's not like he's hurting for money. Plus,
That's true.
He's married to Anna Faris, and
It's not about
you could
money
just-
for him.
No, you could just tell that they love.
And you can tell it's not about money for
No.
him because he goes to the hospitals. He does all
Yes.
his charities. He any excuse to dress up as Star-Lord. He's
He
like,
loves it.
here I am. You
Yep.
know, he's like freaking Depp.
I know, right? I honestly wouldn't doubt if freaking Chris Pratt dressed up as Star-Lord to have sex with Anna Faris.
or, well, that wasn't where I was gonna go. But since I mentioned Depp, I'm thinking Chris Pratt dressing up as Star-Lord and going and talking to people in the queue for Mission Breakout. At Disney parks, right?
That would be awesome.
How badass would that be?
You know, it's kind of funny. I could also see Chris Pratt as dressing up as Star-Lord at Comic-Con and walking the floor. Like, for example, this one's more on the nose with it, but Bryan Cranston one year put on a Walter White mask.
Yeah, I know. I heard
walked
about that.
the show floor, and I think that's awesome. But then there's another time of Daniel Radcliffe dressed up as Spider-Man.
Right.
And so he could walk the show floor. Nobody knew it was him.
Nobody knows. Anyway.
Until there's this great meme that's out there, though, where he took off his mask and a kid saw him. And you could see, like, he's down on his knee posing with the little girl. And the girl's got this look of, like, the fuck? Why is Harry Potter dressed as Spider-Man?
What's happening? All right, man. Kevin Feige confirmed secret Miley Cyrus role in Guardians.
I could have done without that, but I'm okay.
No, but it's funny because I don't want to admit this really, but the wife was into watching The Voice for a little bit, and that was the year that Cyrus was on there.
Right.
And she's a very interesting chick. So
No, don't get me wrong. She's definitely a character, and I think more power to her.
I'm not sure what she would be playing or what she's doing, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
So let's quick Punisher news. Rosario Dawson will not appear in the Punisher. I'm not really surprised by the news, but at the same time, with all the connections with the other Defenders, it would be kind of cool to keep the Claire Temple role kind of there.
Right. No, I totally understand it, but again...
what's she going to do? Patch up the Punisher? You
No,
know what I mean?
exactly.
It doesn't make much sense.
No, it doesn't make much sense.
And then we have Luke Cage, Season 2. I'm going to just leave this link in the show notes because I kind of want to talk about this another time.
Right.
But it says Luke Cage Season 2 character breakdown. So there's some new characters added. This is not the kind of stuff I like to dive into, only because I want to watch the show. I'm really eager for Luke Cage Season 2, but
right.
I want to kind of, let's get to Defenders and move on
exactly.
to that. And then we have last bit of thing here, Infinity War. Avengers 3 and 4 are not filming at the same time, which I'm confused about because I've heard in multiple other podcasts and various things that they were filming at the same time.
Yeah, well, I think that was the original concept, but then...
Because it's supposed to cost like $1 billion to make these two movies together.
Well, I think it's once they... We don't know how the first one's going to end.
Yeah.
Right? And so with 68 different named superhero characters, we don't know who's going to live, who's going to die, who's going to...
But $1 billion? Like, why would you not do it at the same time?
Well, with something that big, it just might be scheduling conflicts.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know, man, but they're throwing all money at it.
They are.
And
it's going to reap it all back.
Oh, for sure. So Silicon Valley Comic-Con, we're going to convention news now before we take off here. Silicon Valley Comic-Con, we did not make it to. I put a link.
Yeah, we unfortunately couldn't go.
Yeah, I put a link from Crazy for Comic-Con. That's Tony Kim's site.
Right.
And there's a nice little recap in there. So definitely check that out. If you were there, great. Let us know what you thought. But like I said, we just didn't make it this year. But we'll be there going forward, I promise. We got to make it work.
And we've actually already talked to the press people, and they said we're going to be good for going next year, too.
Yeah, so we're good to go. We just have to get down there. Which sadly is only a few hours from here, but it's still a few hours from here.
Yeah, I mean, we're in the woods of Northern California.
Exactly. So San Diego Comic-Con, last couple things. We did mention earlier our meetup. We're organizing that.
Yep.
I'm excited about that. Pucked. We also have Hotel Apocalypse that just happened yesterday, which is the open lottery for hotels for San Diego Comic-Con, mostly downtown hotels. There were a couple hiccups from what I saw on Twitter, but I have a link in the show notes for that. But really what it comes down to is it's over, and now it's the waiting game to see what hotels you get. So best of luck to everybody waiting for that, especially the parking lottery as well. I have a link for that for people waiting for that. Those of you that drive in every day, there's a lottery for parking. I mean, it's not something that's easy to access.
It's not simple.
Nothing is simple with San Diego. But what I wanted to put out there is we talked about last week the big, very expensive beer tasting event. But this is not. The Heroes Brew Fest is manageable.
Yes.
And
it's not like HopCon.
No, HopCon is the other one. Thank you. Excuse me. July 22nd, which is the Saturday, from 2 to 8. And the tickets range is not as expensive as the other one, but there's 50 types of beer, live comic book artists, Game of Thrones actor Kristen Narin brings his Rave of Thrones DJ skills. So there's a bunch of cool stuff going on there, and that is at Waterfront Park. We have not done that, and depending on what we're doing, I'd like to do that one year.
Yeah,
that'd be cool. Anyway, so the link in the show notes. A lot of offsite stuff happening right now, which is why I'm highlighting this. Jay and Silent Bob Get Old is going that Thursday night. We're still waiting to hear about Hollywood Babylon and Fat Man on Batman.
And as we already talked about, we already got tickets to go see
Sal Volcano.
Yep.
And Roy Wood Jr.
Yeah, I'm so excited to see Roy Wood Jr.
Yeah, and I can't remember the other guy's name, but Teo Vaughn or something.
Teo
like that.
Vaughn.
Yeah. So I'm excited about that. That's our Thursday night.
Yeah, that's our Thursday night.
That's what we're gonna do. And I'm super stoked about that. I don't think I've really ever seen live stand up.
It's a lot of fun.
If I'm being honest.
Yeah. I've actually seen a show at both the Improv in Hollywood and at the Laugh Factory in Hollywood.
Nice. Yeah, I've never done live stand up. I've seen other types of shows and concerts, but not live stand up, and mostly because of my weirdness with live events. And we don't want to talk about that now, but I'm excited. I'm waiting to see. That'll help us solidify our Friday and Saturday night plans once we know what Smith's doing, because what I think is going to happen.
It's all of their start times.
Yeah, what I think is going to happen is it's going to be. Well, it depends too on his Hall H. If he's doing Hall H again,
then it's going to be like a midnight.
And
start.
that's usually Saturday night. So Hollywood Babylon's probably going to be like midnight Saturday night is my guess.
Midnight, 1 o'clock.
Yeah. Oh, it's been gnarly. Those last couple of years where they do it that late, it's so hard.
It is, but luckily we had seats last time.
Oh, no. We'll have seats no matter what, because I'm watching that like a hawk.
When we were standing room only, that was not fun.
Oh, it's brutal. 1 a.m, we've been standing for 20 hours
and
already.
We've walked 30,000 steps.
Yeah, it's crazy. Anyway, man. And Woodstock is back for their 9th year.
Cool.
And that is not Hardwick. Is it Hardwick?
No, because he's Nerdist.
Right. It is. Hold on 1 second. Who runs this one? Why can't I remember? Oh, that's interesting. So, oh no, that's the side part. So Woodstock returns to San Diego Comic-Con weekend. Balboa Theater is usually where they do it. And
that's also where Nerdist usually records their podcasts.
Yep. And Night of Geeks and Music with Adam Savage, Paul, and Storm and Friends. Will Wheaton. Yeah. Who skipped the convention last year, isn't listed, so not sure if he's going to be back. But there's a bunch of other people too, and tickets are $43.
Yeah, there's usually great pop culture icons that do their own events. Like we have Nerd HQ from Zachary Levi. We've got Nerdist and Geek and Sundry and Smart Girls usually do their thing. And
right. A lot of offsites.
Lots of offsite stuff. But I think that's it for our show.
I got hiccups at the end here, so I'm going to do my best. I'll edit it out.
All right, so I'll say thank you for turning into the usual podcast.
Don't you dare do what I do. How dare you try to do what I do.
How dare you.
Anyway, thanks for tuning in to The Usual Podcast. If you have comments or questions, you can find us at theusualpodcast.com. Email us at theusualpodcast@gmail.com. And we're on Facebook, Google+, Pinterest, Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube. I am at Darth Pops on Twitter. Will can be found at IMO Griggs. You can find us iTunes, Stitcher Radio, wherever you get your podcasts, Google Play, all of that.
Twitch.tv/usualpodcast.
Twitch, YouTube, all of that. Find us, like us, share us. We love that. We also have patreon.com/usualpodcast. If you give us $1 or $2 an episode, you get access to our blooper reels every week and trailer time via Twitch and YouTube. And I actually put that as a private link on our Patreon Dropbox. I actually have a lot of other Patreon stuff in the works as far as an RSS feed and a couple of other things that I'm working on. So now's the time.
And
help us out. Help us get to Comic-Con.
Yeah, of course. And also don't forget to go to audibletrial.com/usualpodcast. Pick up the new Tim into the Zahn book Thrawn.
Yep.
Or the Vince Flynn book American Assassin featuring Mitch Rapp before the movie comes out this fall. And get a free book on us.
Yeah. And we get $15, you get a free book, and then everybody's happy.
Absolutely.
So here we are.
And so I just want to make sure everybody has a fun.
Well, have a fun, and we'll see you all next week.
Peace.
Wow. Aggressive. I think you're getting more aggressive with that.
Aggressive. Be aggressive.
Okay. We're not cheerleading. Anyway, thanks, chat room. Anybody that's still there, you've been quiet for the last 2 sections of the show, but that's okay.
Yes, thank you very much for watching us, and we really enjoy having you here.
I'm not mad at you. Oh, I mean, I am, but I'm joking. Thanks for being here, y'all. And we are probably peacing out. Things to do, places to be, people to see.
Showers to take.
Thank you all muchness. How about that? Is that awkward?
No, it looks like munch ass though.
Kind of does. Well, munch away, everyone. Munch away. Anyway, thanks everyone, and we'll see y'all on the flip side. when I ever do that podcast again, which hopefully will be soon. So everybody's awkwardly quiet, like my 6th period class today. So I'm just gonna.
JT and there, Moxon, and they're the ones that usually.
We're just gonna slink away. Anyway, no, seriously, thanks everyone.